Hey everybody, I am excited to be here. I hope everybody is doing really well. I am really pumped to just do a cool casual webinar today that talks about how to find business in the real estate industry in today's market. If you are here and 2024 is over and the year didn't go like you had planned, or maybe the year went exactly how you had planned, and maybe you're in a quiet time because Christmas is coming and the holidays are here and your market is quiet. And you're probably here for one of those reasons and you just want to learn more and you want to figure out how to get sales like right now, how to essentially go up to the tree of sales and pluck one of those pieces of fruit off and close a deal. I think that you'll get something from today, and I'm just excited to lead you into that. We'll be here for 45 minutes to an hour today, and I'm just going to go through all of the things that are working for us at Crestpoint Real Estate here in Indianapolis, Indiana. And if you guys have questions during this time, there is a Q&A button at the bottom. You can ask questions. I'll keep an eye out on those and try to answer them as we go. Again, I'm just very grateful for you being here. If you know somebody that needs to be on this, that's like in your office or on your team, or just a friend across the country that does real estate, send them the link really quick. Like invite them over and would love to just help them, and we'll get them the recording after this. Um, got a good bunch of people here, and I'm excited to help. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and go ahead and get this started. And again, please do not hesitate to ask me questions as we go. Okay. So that's why we're here. We're here because we want to find sales in real estate here now, today, in this weird and kind of slow and not super dynamic real estate market that we're in today. So I'm going to give you guys a strategy for that. So first, let me give you guys a little background on who I am. If I've not met you, I see some participants here in the webinar that I don't know, and that's really exciting to me. Um, I'm Patrick, and I own a real estate brokerage in Indianapolis, Indiana. We run a smaller niche type brokerage that agents produce at really high levels versus a huge brokerage where agents don't produce at really high levels. And we had a really big brokerage at one time and kind of dismantled that and dismantled the way that we were doing things. And we really got down into a niche, beautiful brokerage here in Indianapolis, Indiana, that per agent production is really high. And I love that. I'm still in production. I get to sell about 100 homes or more per year individually. I have great help and a team that supports not only me, but the agents here in my brokerage. And I coach as well. I don't coach a lot of real estate clients. I don't take on a lot of real estate coaching clients because I value production. I value being in production, and I value making sure that if I'm going to coach people, that I'm really good at production instead of being out of production and trying to coach people in production. The things that I coach on are production and lead generation and lead conversion. Those are my two favorite topics, and also team generation, how to build a team that is sustainable, is actually profitable, and all those things. So that's my background. I want to give you a little background and also some like um, foresight and some planning on the market in 2025 here. Here's some 2025 predictions at a glance. I've done all sorts of research on this. I have been like consuming myself in the last few weeks of what next year will look like in our real estate market. I think planning ahead for that is really important. And it also applies to what we're going to talk about today and how to find business right now, and also how to encourage clients to take action right now in the real estate market, because the real estate market of 2025 may not be a whole lot different than 2024. Okay. Here's one thing I want to tell you. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for a second so you guys can see me very clearly on this. I've talked to a lot of agents, whether they're my coaching clients or they're people that we're just having conversations with, or even like across the table at closings. And a lot of agents right now are just like, man, I'm just really excited for 2025 because 2025 I just feel like it's going to be a really good year. It's going to be a turnaround year for us, and things are going to be better. 2023 and 2024 and they were just hard. 2025 is just going to be a great year. I want you to hear something. I could be wrong, and I'm wrong a lot, but I do not believe that 2025 is coming to save you. I do not believe that the real estate market of 2025 is going to just naturally turn your business around in epic proportions. I really don't. Okay. I have researched far and wide from the Altos research to all the big dogs like Zillow and Redfin and every big name in the industry. And everyone's saying different things, even even in researching our economy and what things look like in our economy and post-election and all that stuff. But no one's saying anything that's incredibly drastic that feels like our market's going to turn around. So here are some things that I want you guys to see and I want you guys to consider and I want you to hear, and that the market's not going to save you. Okay. Here are some 2025 predictions at a glance. The median asking price for a home across the country is expected on average through all these predictions and analytics is expected to increase by 4% in 2025. It's a very modest and average appreciation, okay? However, there were a lot of groups that only believe that we may see like a 1 or 2% increase in home price growth, okay? So for those of you that have had clients that are like, you know what, we're gonna wait till next year because we feel like home prices are gonna go up. We're gonna wait to sell. That's likely not gonna happen. And the rest of the things I'm getting ready to tell you and the predictions over here are indicators on why that's likely not to happen. Okay. So second, mortgage rates are expected to keep mortgage payments relatively unchanged in 2025. So rates aren't going to change a whole lot. Rates are probably going to hover anywhere from 6 to 7% most of 2025, where they were most of 2024. Okay. The only time in 2024 where we saw the market really get excited was when all of a sudden interest rates got down into the 5% range. And that was a very short period of time in 2024. It did not last long. All right. And again, just want to reiterate, next year it doesn't look like rates are going to change at any significant level. So if rates don't change at any level, then we don't really see home prices changing. If rates were to go much higher, 8 or 9 or 10%, home prices would probably fall, right? And if rates were to go down to 3 or 4%, home prices go up. I'm talking to a group of realtors, you know this. But since they're going to remain unchanged, it's very likely that the statistic above that maybe home prices will only be around 1 or 2% in an upward trajectory of 1 or 2% in all 2025. So we don't really see a whole lot of upside in prices. Also, over here in the black, home sales are expected to increase 2 to 9% annually in 2025. Some cities will see explosive growth. We're seeing growth across the country. By the way, I coach agents across the country, so I get to talk to agents in Washington State, in Texas, in Boston, in Minnesota, in Florida, literally all of the ranges, and in the Midwest here very frequently. And what I'm seeing is that the big cities, the coastal cities, or the attractive cities like Dallas and Austin and all of these cities, they're actually seeing people moving out because home affordability is poor and taxes are poor there. And so the cities and the areas that are likely expected to see maybe a little bit of higher end in sales activity, okay, are probably the steady Midwests, probably the areas like Wisconsin and Minnesota and Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, those kind of regions, places like Missouri, those kind of things, because it's cheaper to live in these areas from a global perspective. So home sales activity will probably be a little bit higher for us here in Indianapolis, probably a little bit higher than 2%, but probably not likely higher than 9%. So I want you guys to hear what I'm telling my agents here in the Midwest. I'm telling my agents that I believe that our sales activity, our overall office sales, the market will probably contribute to giving us maybe an 8 to 9% growth in office sales or individual agent sales in 2025. So when I say the market's not going to come and save you, I mean it. If you sell 100 homes a year, if you, which by the way, that's a lot, but like if you sell 100 homes a year, if you do nothing and you change your business in no way, you're probably only going to see maybe 8 or 9 additional transactions. Let me flip this around. If you sell 20 homes a year, okay, you probably will only see maybe one additional sale if you change nothing in your effort or in your business in 2025. Okay, maybe one sale extra. So when I say that the market's not going to save you, I mean it. The market's not going to save you. And this last little statistic over here, inventory is expected to increase by 11% or so in 2025 across the country, making the market less competitive. Okay. It's going to make buyers have a little bit more traction in negotiations. It's going to make sellers lose a little traction in negotiations, which is going to probably contribute to this less appreciation than what we see normal. On normal or on average each year, okay? But the issue is a lot of the inventory is going to come from new construction and not necessarily pre-existing. So I want you guys to hear this, and I want you to hear me say, again, the market's not coming to save us. So what do we do right now to get business right now in what oftentimes people would say is a quiet time of the year? So I want to show you guys some strategies, okay? I want to talk about 4 different types of strategies to go find business right now, okay? In the first box here, you see that I've written down strategic planning on lead timing. Now, all of us have a database, okay? What I want you to think about here just for a few minutes when we talk about the strategic planning on lead timing is I want you to think about the people in your database that you've paid for or have been leads that have been provided to you, or even people in your sphere that you've had conversations with but have not transacted. Okay. The first rule of, excuse me, my voice keeps cracking today. I'm like a little teenage boy again. The first rule of thumb is that if you have any type of paid lead in your database whatsoever, the sales conversion cycle of that paid lead is longer than it used to be. So, for example, if you have a website registration lead or a website lead that either your brokerage provided or you paid for, and it's in your database, in the past, those leads would take about 8 months to transact on average, from 6 to 8, 9, even 12 months to transact. But I usually say about 8 months transact on average. Okay. Well, because of the election year of 2024, and because of this very strange, actually pretty normal, balanced real estate market that we're in, people are a little hesitant to take action. People are hesitant to take action because of the economy as well. And so what I see is that sales conversion cycle for a paid lead or a website lead or any kind of lead that you paid for or had been provided that was not your sphere, the sales conversion cycle of that lead is probably going to tend towards more like 9 to 12 months instead of 6 to 8 to 9 months. Okay. So here is one action item that I would encourage you to do right now. I would encourage you to write this down. And when this webinar is over, I want you to take action on this today. I want you to go through your database and I want you to figure out when you acquired all of your leads. And specifically, I want you to target in on these leads that are paid or given to you leads that aren't necessarily your sphere or past clients, okay? And what I want you to do is I want you to look at those people and I only want you to focus on the ones that registered anywhere from 8 to 12 months ago. any of those leads that either registered on the website or that were given to you 8 to 12 months ago. And I want you to focus and go all in on those leads versus your new leads for like the next 2 or 3 weeks. And here's what I would say. If you've made no contact with these people, I always coach on just like putting the elephant in the room, like address the elephant in the room. And I want you to reach out to these leads via phone call, via text message, and via email, and the uncontacted ones that you have, and say, listen, we haven't talked. And here's what I know. People like you that reached out to me 8, 9, 10 months ago are likely to think about actually making a move in real estate around this time. I want to be a resource for you, but listen, I can't help you until I understand what your needs are. So I'm just curious. Tell me, what's your real estate situation and what are your needs right now? And I want you to do that in the form of a phone call. And if they don't answer, you literally say those words in a voicemail. And then when they don't hang up, or so when they don't answer and you hang up the phone, you send that pretty much verbatim in a text message and an email to those people. Okay. And here's what I'd recommend. I'd recommend you doing that now. I'd recommend you sending the same message in a few days and send the same message after Christmas and all the way up until the new year. Same message over and over again. Put it out there. You recognize that they probably weren't ready, but they likely are thinking about it more seriously now. You want to be a resource, but you can't help until you better understand their situation. So tell me what it is. I want to better understand it. Okay. Here's what you're going to find. If you have 100 leads that match that kind of criteria that are in that time frame, what you're going to find is that probably 4 to 5 of them have transacted. They probably are a little bit ahead of the game. And then there's going to be another 20 or 30 that actually don't respond. They give you no guidance whatsoever. And then there's going to be another 20 or 30 that say, hey, listen, we're not in the market right now. Like, we're not interested right now. So they're later. Okay. And that's okay. When someone says, hey, we're just waiting for the market to change, or we're waiting for better interest rates, or we're waiting for prices to go down, say, hey, that's awesome. I completely understand that. I would too if I were you. Tell me when prices go down or when rates go down or whatever it was their objection is that they're waiting on. Tell me when that happens. Tell me, what is it that you're looking to accomplish in real estate? What are you looking for? Where do you live? Tell me more about that so that when it happens, I know. And what you'll find in those 20 or 30 people that do respond out of a list of 100 that were given to you in that time is with those 20 or 30, if you give them a response like that, a good chunk of them, maybe half of them, will start to conversate with you on what they actually want, even though they're quote unquote not ready. So that's how you handle that I'm waiting to objection. Okay. Now, for the additional 20 or 30 that's left that respond, they will also say, like, hey, yeah, we're thinking about this, we're thinking about this, we're thinking about this, indicating that they are in the market now. So I want you to hear that of 100 leads that registered 8 to 9 to 12 months ago, you probably will get a response from 35 to 40 of them. And half of those will be like, hey, we're waiting for something to happen. And then the other half of those 30 or 40 of them will say, hey, you know what? Like, this is our situation and this is what we're looking for. And you can try to help and convert those. It's very important, though, that you reach out multiple times over this week and then next week, before and after Christmas, into the new year, into that very niche database. I hope that that makes sense to you guys. Target the people that registered in the 8, 9, 12-month time frame. Target those people that were given to you in that time frame. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. We're going to move on to the next one as well here. Let's talk about low-hanging fruits over here, okay? If you want to get business right now, focus on the low-hanging fruits and the people that are signaling that they want to sell or they want to buy right now. And talking specifically about sellers, guys, FSBOs and expireds are still very much so a pinnacle and a foundation of our real estate and my real estate business today. I want you guys to hear some statistics just around for sale by owners. Okay. First of all, when I look up for sale by owners just around Indianapolis, even in this very non-seasonal like real estate market, like a bad season to sell real estate in Indianapolis, we're very seasonal here. There's still like 40 for sale by owners that I would consider to be like quality homes, good leads. Right now, if you're an agent, you could go to Zillow.com, okay, and you could remove the boundary of an area and look at a large area that you would be willing to serve as an agent because you want business right now. All right. And you literally just go over to more and you check, I only want to see things that are listed by owner. And I bet you'll see 35 to 40 if you're here in Indianapolis, 35 or 40 for some of my owners. I just did a coaching call with a group in Montana that has a population of only a city of a population of only about 150,000 people. It's a small city, and they had about 35 for sale by owners right now in Montana, where it's snowing like a ton, and it's not a great market to sell in. And so I want you to hear that there are always for sale by owners, there are always opportunities. And here are some crazy statistics around them. If you're scared of for sale by owners right now and you're kind of shutting me down already, I want you to open your mind up here if you're willing and hear these things. Okay. Only 18% of for sale by owners sell on their own. Less than 20% of them sell on their own. Okay. Now, another 20% of those for sale by owners do sell with a buyer's agent. So a buyer's agent comes in and they have a buyer and the buyer's agent gets it done. So I want you to hear something. If you've got a list of buyers right now and there's no inventory in the MLS, you have an opportunity to go shop for sale by owners for them and create an opportunity for them that they would not likely have had if you hadn't went and looked for that for them. Okay. We're going to talk about that kind of like client care that gets you deals now here in the next slide. But there's 60% left of this for sale by owner pool. If you had 100 for sale by owners, there's 60 of them that list on the market. Okay. And here's what's crazy is they typically list within about 3 weeks of posting their for sale by owner listing online. That's not a long time. Okay. So I'm going to try and break down some barriers for you here. So you're hearing from me that 60% of the for sale by owners in your market are going to list, and they're also likely to list in 3 weeks. So there's some good opportunity, but you're like, that's not a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of real estate agents in the market. Do you know how many real estate agents prospect for sale by owners? I do. The data says that less than 5% of real estate agents prospect for sale by owners. And I'm going to tell you right now, that guarantee it's less than 5% right now. How many agents are coasting right now? How many agents are just chilling out? It's Christmas time. Let's just chill out. I hit my goals. I didn't hit my goals. Who cares? We're gonna look into the new year. Not you. If you want to find business right now, it can't be you. Okay. And by the way, that next year is not going to save them. So you folks that are in this webinar right now, you're not those people. You're going to take action right now. Okay. Now, here's what I want to tell you with for sale by owners. I have a strategy that I'm going to share with you here in a second, but I can tell you the simplest strategy that works with for sale by owners. It's empathy and it's curiosity. For sale by owners want to be heard and they want to be understood, and they want somebody who's going to work with them and understand what they're going through and why they chose to go for sale by owner and provide a solution that's going to work for them. Okay. I can tell you right now, we got Zach on my team, Paul on my team. They're taking for sale by owners frequently. Okay. Zach just listed 2 for sale by owners last week. He already has one of those deals under contract. Okay. And he got a good commission on it. He didn't have to value himself down. No, what he did is he called that individual and he said, man, listen, like, I know you're getting a lot of phone calls. I know that that's probably got to be really, really, really annoying. I get it. I am a realtor, but I just want to better understand like what it is that you want to accomplish. I may have a solution, I may not, but I just want to better understand what you're trying to accomplish. Because there's no magic script in it. Like that is it. Okay. That's it. You call these for sale by owners, you acknowledge and you put the elephant in the room, you address the elephant in the room, you say, listen, I know that things are annoying when salespeople call you. I am one, but listen, I'm not calling with some pitch. I just want to understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And after that, when they start to open up to you and tell you their situation and why they listed for sale by owner and all the strategies around it, ask them more questions around that. Like, okay, tell me a little bit like how's it going? Is that timeline working for you? Tell me more about your timeline, your ideal time. If you could wave a magic wand and get this house sold, when would it be? Like, I want to better understand all of this. And then after they've opened up, you say, hey, like, would it be crazy or would you be open-minded to think maybe we could sit down across from each other and just see if there's an option that makes sense? And that's what we do. That's what people do on my team. And they go out there, these people sign listing contracts before they walk out the door just because you're empathetic. Now, that all sounds simple and that sounds like gray area, and I promise you it's not, but it is. It's really how it works. Okay. Um, One strategy that I'd like to tell you on for sale by owners right now in today's market would be encourage them that what they're doing is right now. When you call them, say, listen, I'm not trying to talk you out of it. Okay. I want to better understand your situation. And it sounds like this might be the best thing for you. If I can help facilitate you listing your house for sale by owner and you just getting it sold, I want to do that for you. Is there any paperwork that I can provide for you? Do you have like a standard Indiana purchase agreement? Not the realtor one because you can't technically give them that, but I guarantee you can find a standard Indiana purchase agreement through a website, right? Through the state's website. Can I provide that to you or a seller's disclosure? Like, I want to help facilitate your goals right now. And if your goals change to listing, I want to facilitate those too. All right. So be a helper, be someone that guides them through it. Provide those resources to them in a very timely manner. And it increases the opportunity to get that one on one with people where you can not just portray your value, because guys, I gotta, this is a tip for you right now. Your listing presentation is not your value. It's how well you understand and connect with these people and have a strategy to implement their plan. That's your value. That's what gets you listings. Okay. So it's the same with expireds, guys. If you were to call expireds today, which there are a lot of expireds in our market today, more so than there ever was in 2020 and 2021 when people entered our real estate market. Okay. There are so many more expireds out there, and the same thing happens. The same strategy works. Hey, expired, like, listen, I know you're getting a lot of phone calls, and I can sense that that's probably really annoying. And then just shut up and let them respond. Just through something very simple like that, you have now gained some trust in them, in their eyes, I should say. And now you can say, tell me more about like what it is you're wanting to do. I want to understand it. I've looked at your house. I saw that your house was on the market and it didn't sell. Tell me, like, what is it that you're wanting to accomplish? I may or may not have a plan for that. Okay. It's the same thing. Now, how do you encourage these people to take action in today's market versus the spring? Well, folks, I'm going to tell you right now that you telling somebody what to do isn't going to work. Okay. People will choose what they want to do over what you want them to do all day. But guys, could you potentially paint a picture of how like selling right now could be better for them in the spring or the summer? Yeah. And guys, it depends on their situation. It depends on the holding costs that they have and what their mortgage is and what their situation is. But there very much could be an opportunity for them to sell now that's better than the spring. One statistic that I like to share with sellers is that it looks like there is going to be about 11 or 12% more inventory in the market in 2025 than there is now. Could that be an indicator that's a better time for you to sell right now than it is in the spring and the summer with more and more homes on the market? Yeah, like it could be. What keeps you from trialing the market right now? Let's list your home like right now. And if you don't get traction, let's just say until like January 30th or so, let's take it off and let's relist in May. Okay. And you guys will be surprised because that'll get you business right now. There are listings that are still moving, still selling right now. We're pending houses today at Crestpoint Real Estate here just a few days before Christmas. All right. So that's how you can encourage somebody to take action if it's in the right timing for them. Let's talk about open houses. As I tell you right now, like since Thanksgiving through Christmas, we have still wanted and encouraged our clients to do open houses. I have a listing right next door to one of my listings that sold in an open house last weekend. I sold one of my listings at an open house the weekend after Thanksgiving. Okay. Times in which people and agents, I've heard agents like historically tell their clients, like, hey, it's probably not a good time right now. Let's just like lay back. And in the new year, things are going to be better. Where you put your energy, where action happens, like things are going to happen. Okay. So I would encourage you to do open houses if you have listings. I would encourage you to reach out to your brokerage if you don't have listings and ask folks like, can I do an open house? I know it sounds crazy, but like I'd love to do an open house right now. If buyers are showing up to these open houses today, you better believe that they're serious buyers if they're looking today. You better believe that they're looking to transact as quickly as possible if they're looking today. These are like ideal, typically non-looky-loo clients that you can relate with at an open house here today. So I have some real quick tips on how to make sure your open houses are attended and how you can maximize conversions at the open house when you're speaking to people there. And again, don't be afraid to just ask me questions or make a comment, okay? I'm gonna look and make sure we're good on time. Yeah. Simple truths. Like the best time to do an open house, a lot of you guys know this, is immediately after listing or immediately post price reduction. We tend to find a good amount of traction on Saturdays and Sundays and or Thursday evenings. We like to list our homes on Thursdays or Fridays. And a lot of you guys know this. One of the worst times to do an open house is when your listing has been stale for a really long time and your clients have not taken any action in a price modification. We're going to talk about price modifications here in a second for those of us who have listings and or are taking listings so that you can get contracts today. That's coming, okay? How to have those conversations. But the best time to do open houses is post new listing, post price reduction. And that increases attendance. Now, I'm going to kind of go against the grain here, and some of you may disagree with me. My chair like sinks in my office. So from time to time, if you guys see me coming down, I'm going to lift myself back up. If you guys are, some of you may disagree with what I'm getting ready to say. I don't think that like a ton of social media posting around open houses gets a ton of people to attend open houses. Transparently, and if you guys want to have a side conversation with me about this, I'm cool. It's not something I want to debate. This is just a feeling I have. Some of the best agents that I coach around the country, and when I say best, I mean like produce the most, have the most transactions and volume, have like the least amount of social media presence or the most like unpolished presence. Okay. Most of their business comes from their efforts in prospecting and their efforts in their sphere and their reputation that they built and the activities that they take in the community, not the constant social posting. So I'm going to make a blanket statement there. I'll also probably make a blanket statement and say that you're not going to see anything in this presentation here today that is social media related to get you business right now. Social media is a reputation building tool. It's just a top of mind awareness tool. I'm not saying it's impossible, but infrequently compared to direct prospecting and action that I'm talking about you taking, social media is going to get your business right now. It's pretty infrequent, not as likely to happen. If I made some of you mad, I'm sorry, but That's what I see in my business, what I see in agents' business, what I see in agents across the country's business. Okay. It's an easy thing to teach on. And coaches like me across the country will say things like, hey, social media, man, you keep doing it, you keep plugging in, like you're gonna start getting deals and deals and deals. And maybe some of you have been hitting your head against the wall and posting so much. And maybe it's brought you a couple few deals a year, but you've probably seen that more deals have come without it. Okay. Or if most of your deals come from social media, I want to, I want to say, hey, if you take these strategies that we're talking about today, you'll get more deals. Okay. All right. That was my soapbox about social media. How to how to make sure those open houses are attended. Believe it or not, it's the basics like timing, post reductions that we're talking about and post listing. It's also like really great signage. It's not day of signage. No, it's like 2, 3 days before. Lots and lots of signs in the neighborhood and in the community to get people to come to those open houses. And it's timing on when to post that open house as advertised in the MLS. So it's very important that you do your price reductions or your listings first, specifically price modifications, and then advertise that open house like immediately after. Okay. Because the way it works, or a better suggestion would be post your open house and then do your price reduction immediately after that. Because the way that these MLS feeds work, and you guys have probably watched it, is that they will serve up a pricing modification, a listing price reduction to people who have viewed that listing in the past. And if you already have an open house scheduled, or you have an open house scheduled within seconds after doing that listing modification, those MLS feeds will also advertise that it has an open house. You'll often see like price reduction on the house, open house Sunday, 12 to 2. So you're going to get more exposure. People, it's more likely that the people who have been eyeballing that listing are going to show up. So it's really important that you do that. When you're there, I'm going to spend 2 minutes on this. I'm going to move on because I want you guys to get a lot of value from this. When you're at your open house, I would really encourage you, no matter what your team leader or your coach or your mentor or your managing broker says, I would really encourage you to get away from the sign-in sheet nonsense. Get away from having a table right by the front door with the sign-in sheet and saying things like, hey, I'd really like you to sign in today if you don't mind, please. Or, hey, the seller is asking that you please sign in today so that we can keep track of who's here. Stop saying that stuff. Okay. When people walk in the door to your open house, don't have a sign-in sheet in their view anywhere. Okay. Don't have any obligatory items. I don't even know if that's a word. Don't have any obligations in front of them. They want to come to an open house to feel free. They want to feel welcomed, but not even welcome. They just want to feel like comfortable. And anytime they see a sheet, they think obligation immediately. That's where our mind goes psychologically. Like, oh shoot, I'm obligated to do this. Okay. Instead, when they come in the door, ask them like, hey, my name's Patrick. Like, what's your guys' name? Right? Pretty simple stuff, right? But then ask them two really important questions like, hey, tell me, like, where'd you hear about this open house? And they're often going to tell you, like, we saw it driving in the neighborhood or we saw it online. If they said we saw it drive around the neighborhood, you've got some unpacking to do. Like, they might be, it could be that they're just nosy neighbors and they're just curious, or maybe they are looking around and you say, hey, tell me more about that. Do you live in the neighborhood or you just drive around looking for houses? Okay. But if somebody says we've seen it online, you know you have yourself a shopper here. You know you have somebody that's like in the market. And guys, a lot of agents will quickly then be like, okay, well, hey, look around, help yourself out. I'll be around. I'll check in on you. I hope you guys are good. Help yourself some cookies and sign in. Okay. No, don't let them go past you. Okay. You're standing in the foyer and still just like, don't let them go away. Say things like, tell me more about your real estate situation. What is it that you want to accomplish? And once they start unpacking that, once they start telling you what they want, ask them everything, location, where they want to be, what's ultimately motivating them. What's their price point? Do they have somebody that's helping them? And even if they say, yeah, we have an agent that's helping us just say, okay, that's awesome. Like, I respect that. While you're here today, I want to help you a little bit, and you can take everything that I gave you and give it back to your agent. Okay. Once they start unpacking that, then ask for permission to help them through it. And you say things like this, like, hey, thanks for sharing all this with me. Like, can you care if we go to my laptop and we kind of like talk through this? And then afterwards, you guys check out the house and see how it relates to everything that we talked about. And oftentimes, guys, in an open house, I'll be like at the laptop running mortgage scenarios and setting up safe searches for them and putting them in my CRM and my agency exclusive agreement with these people because they do want someone to understand their situation. And I ask a bunch of questions and a bunch of questions. I have a story that I love to tell that I did this one time and I saw a couple over in the corner and they were essentially just like waiting. And I said, hey guys, I'll be with you in just a minute. And they were like, okay. And I was like, is there anything I can do? And they're like, no, you're good. You're good. And they were like standing there the entire time. I did the whole thing with these people. They hadn't even walked through the house yet. And I said, okay, cool. Hey, thanks. Go ahead and walk through the house and tell me how it relates to what we've talked about here today. And I go over to those people in the corner. I was like, hey, how can I help? I see you just sitting around. Are you interested in the house? And they're like, no, we want you to do what you did with them with us. Okay. So take the time to get to know people. Don't do the sign in stuff. Make sure that you do that in open house because they'll convert them at a much, much higher clip. And then I'm going to quickly go into how to get business right now from your sphere. Okay. You guys, if you followed me at any clip, you guys know that pastimes and sphere of influence is 65% of my business year over year over year. It's just really, really important part of my business. I get to help like 65 past clients, sphere of influence people a year. And I love that. And I'll tell you, we call them quarterly and we just ask them how their life is going. And I'm not going to get into that. If you guys want to know my past client sphere of influence campaign, like hit me up, email me, Facebook me, whatever. But I want to tell you, like right now, what I would encourage you to do in a couple weeks is like set yourself a challenge to call 100 of your past clients in your sphere of influence over the next couple weeks for the year's over. And I simply just want you to be like, hey, it's Patrick. I know I'm calling you out of the blue, but I'm just curious, like, how are you? We're entering into a holiday season. Like, are you okay? Okay. And just see how they're doing. And what's crazy about the reciprocal nature of humans is that they're going to ask you how you are. And if they're past clients, they're going to ask you how the real estate market is. And you could say really awesome things like, hey, the market's like, it's going pretty good. You know, it's really balanced now. It seems like it's fair on both sides, like all opportunistic language. Say, like, tell me more, like, what's on your mind in real estate? And what's great about these conversations is that very often they'll be like, you know what, Patrick, you did such a great job. We're not going anywhere, but my cousin's thinking about moving and they're looking right now. And their agent's not doing a great job, or, you know, like whatever. Like you might hear all sorts of things. Say, like, well, hey, I'd love to connect with them or you, or get to know your real estate situation a little bit better. And I want to give you one more little tip on your past clients. If you want to get some like potential quick juice out of a past client relationship that's specific to real estate, send them all a text that has their Zillow's estimate in it. Literally screenshot their Zillow's estimate and say, hey, this is what Zillow thinks your home is worth. Like, what do you think about that? See what they think about it. See if that drums up any potential, like, you know what, like, wow, we have a lot of equity. We've been here for 7 years, and man, all 2024 we thought about it, but we've been riding the fence. Guys, that's a huge population of people. And I didn't know this, but or you might get the flip side of like, oh man, I think that's kind of low. And then you could say, well, you know what? I'm gonna run a CMA for you and see if that's accurate. Does that sound good? And then you get to provide value to these people, okay? So just try that with your sphere. Quick tactics to get something. All right, guys, I've got like 15 more minutes with you. I hope that you guys are enjoying this and getting something from it. If you have some questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I saw somebody raise their hand earlier when I mentioned something, and I think that meant like, yeah, amen. I hope that's what it meant. If you have a question, let me know. Now, I gave you some strategies on how to go get people and go get clients and business in this environment today. Now, for the last 15, 14 minutes, I want to give you guys strategies on how to capitalize on these clients and these opportunities, not only for you, but for them. Okay. Let's get down to getting some contracts, right? Well, the first thing I want to tell you is that if you have listings right now, and there's probably some of you in here that have listings right now that aren't moving. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now that without going into a ton of detail or strategies on how to get sellers to reduce their price, it's just very important to make the phone call and say, hey, seller, I don't have the best of news. You're likely going to get frustrated by what I'm going to suggest to you. What I'm going to suggest to you is probably not a part of your ideal plan. And just wait. Let them hear that and say, shooting you straight, I think we need to reduce our price 5, 10%, whatever it is that you believe that you need to reduce them at. Now, here's some statistics here in Indianapolis that if you are not in Indianapolis and you're in this webinar, I want you to go find, okay? In Indianapolis as a whole, the houses that we have listed now, the listing price that we are at is probably based on comparables that sold about 6 months ago, okay? Here's the truth. In Indianapolis as a whole, on average, houses that were listed and sold 6 months ago sold for about 5 or 6% more than they are selling right now. So I really want you to hear this. If you're not in Indy, I need you to go figure that out. What was the average or median price 6 months ago in your market, and what is it today? Okay. So if you have a home listed now, it's probably 5 to 6% too high. And here is the other really important thing that I want you to hear. 52% of listings are reducing their prices right now to get them sold. Over half of the houses across the country are reducing their prices to get sold. Okay? So if your listing is 6% high and it hasn't done a price reduction yet, it's likely that they will sell for even less than 5 or 6% of what they were 6 months ago. Does that make sense? So let me make that very clear. Okay. Let's say you have a $100,000 home, which nobody sees that anymore, but let's just say you have a $100,000 home and you have it listed 100,000 because you have a comp in June and you have a comp in July that sold for 100,000. And you're like, man, this is just priced at the comps. Well, it's not. Okay. Because you're not pricing with the market. That listing it should have started out at like 95,000. Okay. But let's take this a step further. In order to get that $95,000 listing home sold, it's 52% likely that they will also have to reduce their price. These are the kinds of things that you need to say to a client. So you say, guys, listen, I think we need to drop like 6 or 7%. House prices are already down 5 or 6% compared to the comparables that I've provided to you, likely. Okay. And more than half of the people are reducing their price, even if they're priced well in this market today, in order to get it sold. I really would suggest a 5 or 6% reduction right now. Okay. One of my buddies, Ben Kinney, who's the owner of Place and was a huge Keller Williams team leader back in the day, when the market shifted in 08, he got his whole team together and he had them all call all their sellers and say, listen, something's on the horizon. We can smell it. If you want to sell right now, reduce your house 10% and it'll move. And what was crazy is that almost 70% of their listings moved. They had a lot of listings. And they had a great year in 08 when the market crashed because they got ahead of it. And guys, right now in this type of market, if your clients want to move, we got to have those strategies. If you have any questions on that, please hit me up. Now, that's strategic planning on pricing your listings. If you are getting a listing and you're bringing it to the market and you've said something that you now are like, I'm nervous about, I wish I wouldn't have told my client to list at this price, I'm going to encourage you to shoot them straight and be 1000% honest with them and say, guys, I messed up. Okay. I shared with you the comparable 5, 6 months ago. And you know what? In older markets, that would have worked. But here's the deal. In our market today, it's actually a normal market and it's a balanced market. And what happens is when seasons like this hit in the winter, houses sell for less. And I recommended you sell for the same price as the summer. And it's not like that anymore. So I think you have one of two options. You can wait and hold out and hope the prices might go up. But here's the statistics that I have in front of me. So that's not guaranteed. Or we can go with what we know and we can list our price maybe list our house, excuse me, maybe 5, 6, maybe even 7% less than those comparables. And it'll likely get your house moved in the same amount of time those moved. What do you guys want to do? It's your choice. Okay. Empower them with the choice. Awesome. Gonna finish this up here soon. Strategic planning on offering. Also, if you've got buy side clients and you want to get people under contract now, I'm going to tell you, as a person who has like 8 or 9 listings right now, like in our brokerage, we have, I don't know, probably 20 or more, and they're kind of just sitting right now, and we're taking action on them in price reductions. I want to tell you right now that a lot of our sellers are motivated. Okay. So if you have sellers, you could probably say that your sellers are motivated. Okay. So some sellers will even like get an agreement and wait. So you have to, if you have buyers that are like, yeah, we'd look now, but more like spring is okay. There are some sellers that'll go under contract and wait 45 or 60 days to close because they just want a contract. They want some confidence in their experience. Okay. Also, sellers are coming down on price in some circumstances. They are buying down rates in some circumstances. So if you have a buyer who's kind of waiting till the spring, paint the picture, okay, of how the spring is likely going to bring up more buyers seasonally, and they have the option. Hey, would you like to capitalize on some really motivated sellers now, or would you like to capitalize on some not so motivated sellers in the spring? Your call, your choice. Here are some things that I see happening now. Here are some things that I see happening in spring. What do you think would be more advantageous for you? Okay. Paint the picture of the real opportunity that exists for people in this winter now. Okay. Be proactive. Okay. Now, I wrote down here like how to follow up with your clients now in a valuable fashion to help encourage them to engage in the market. I'm going to tell you guys right now that if someone's told you this, that a saved search is a great tool to stay top of mind with your clients. So I'm going to tell you right now that that's probably not the case. Okay. Here's what I would do. If you have clients that you know could transact in this time or be willing to transact in this time or in the next month, excuse me, what I would do is I'd go through the date of the MLS and I would find houses that are like theirs that are selling right now and say, hey, like houses are moving right now that are like yours if you'd want to list. Or I'd find, if they're buyers, I'd find houses that are like the ones that they want to buy that are on the market and say, hey, what do you think about maybe looking at this now in a more seller motivated market? Like, what do you think about that? Is that something that you would explore? Are you open minded to that? Be proactive in your follow up. And what I mean by that is actually individually, manually provide them opportunities versus just banking on the automated emails. It makes them feel heard. It makes them feel like you are looking out for them. And guys, I got to tell you, that's what being a real estate agent is supposed to be all about. Okay. Last thing I'm going to tell you is be optimistic and empathetic in this time. Okay. A lot of people don't have an optimistic outlook on the real estate market at this time. And guys, there is a beauty in our market right now. It's a pretty balanced market across the country. Sellers and buyers are both winning. I mean, that's that's a pretty cool thing, right? So sellers aren't losing 20 or 30% on their homes in a buyer's market. Like that was a buyer's market, guys, for those of us who were in it in like 2012, 11, and 10. Like buyers were taking advantage of sellers every day. We're not in that. We're in a balanced market where sellers are winning and they're getting very close to their price. Buyers are paying very close to their price, but they're also getting some incentives and negotiating some things and feeling like they're winning. Like everybody's winning. So it's important to portray that to clients. It's important to understand their needs, though, the most. So be very empathetic in this time. Anybody who tells you that they're waiting until the spring or they're waiting until 2025, you now have in front of you the statistics here that are likely the truth. Okay. It likely will transact like this. And then you say, hey, even though you want to wait, I'd love to hear about like when that time comes, what it is that you want to accomplish. Let's plan around it. And you might uncover that they're the right house away, or you might uncover that they're just the right listing away from making the move. I hope you guys found this really helpful. Guys, if you ever want to talk about anything in real estate, I will be here. My email is patrick@crestpointindy.com. I just really appreciate it. If I've been emailing you and texting you or any of these things, just because I want to stay in contact with you, better understand like what you're going through in the real estate market. And I truly do just like really enjoy being a resource for people. If you want to watch any other like old webinars that I've done, you can go to meetpk.co, not .com, .co. And I hope you guys have a fruitful end of the year. This is the time to go hunt because not a lot of other people are hunting. Hope you're great, and I hope that we talk soon. Good luck. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. See y'all later.